Hey everyone, this is a super quick review of Billy, which is a biography of Billy Connolly written by his wife Pamela Stephenson. Billy Connolly seems to have had a pretty harsh childhood. Some absolutely awful things happened to him, like he was abandoned by his mother when he was 3 and his sister was 5. Their father was away at the time and they were just left in the house, and someone found them after 3 days after they'd been alone all that time. And that's just for starters. Then he was taken in by 2 of his aunts, one of whom beat him all the time. And then he went to a school where he was beaten by a teacher. And then he was also abused by his father. Yeah, happy childhood. Anyway, he did eventually move schools to a school where there were some actual decent teachers. And then at the age of 16, he got an apprentice job at a shipyard doing welding. And he spent 5 years doing that. And in those 5 years, he talks about how there were lots of pranks and lots of joking around in the shipbuilding yards and lots of telling of jokes. Anyway, he did a bunch of other things as well. He even joined the part-time army as a parachutist. Parachutist? Anyway, he parachuted into Cyprus at one point, and he has a funny tale to tell about that. And also that aunt that was beating him when he was younger, she had a mental breakdown and went into a psych hospital forever. Anyway, here's the important bit. He learnt the banjo, and he was in a couple of bands that toured around, mostly playing music, but also telling the occasional joke. And on one memorable evening, he said, there was a time where he was singing a song, and he forgot the words of the song. And so he just started telling the audience what the song was about, or the story of the song. And he found that that actually got a really good response. So that was kind of the first inkling of where his career would go. And then there's a bunch of stuff about his relationships. He had a first wife and dealing with seeing his dad, who seemed very disapproving, and occasionally seeing his mum, which was just a total disaster. And then a big turning point was he appeared on Michael Parkinson, which was, if you're watching a video about Billy Connolly, you probably know who Michael Parkinson is. Anyway, that led on to heaps more success and lots of tours, and then that led on to alcohol and drugs and more alcohol. And then he met Pamela Stephenson from Not the 9 O'Clock News, and they started going out and they eventually got married, and she really helped him. I mean, she's a trained psychologist. He had these struggles with alcoholism, and eventually she gave him an ultimatum and he finally gave it up. And there's all these diary entries in this book showing his struggles with the alcohol. And eventually on December the 30th, 1985, he finally quit drinking and he's been sober ever since. There's a couple of funny coincidences about Pamela Stephenson. She was born in Australia and she actually went to the same school as my mother. But the other funny thing, Billy thought he had ruined his chances with Pamela when they first met, because he made a couple of faux pas, and one of them was to say he really doesn't like the name Neville. He said, for no apparent reason, I really don't like the name Neville. It's a terrible name. And of course that's my name. And she shot back at him, my father's name is Neville. My name is not very common, so it's always fun to see it in a book. Anyway, the rest of the book is about his kind of rising fame. He's going in movies, doing lots of tours, going in movies. Did I say movies twice? And so the last section of the book is a little bit ho-hum. It just kind of goes into the details of all these extra things that happened. Travel documentaries, doing tours, selling out Albert Hall, this sort of stuff. And then there's a little bit of random philosophizing at the end. Anyway, it was a fascinating look into one of the most famous comedians of our time, if not the most famous. So if you're at all interested in Billy Connolly, this is the book to get. I think there is a sequel as well, though I don't have that. Yeah, anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. See ya.